All right, guys, what's going on? I am here with this incredible human that I literally just met a couple days ago.
Yeah,
Daniel,
yeah.
Hassibi. It's such an incredible last name.
Appreciate you, man.
It is so cool to say. It's so cool to say. There has to be a brand around that. Hassibi.
I'm building it.
Hassibi.
It's been built.
This man, yeah, he's already had such a huge impact in my life. His character, his love, he has, as big as his muscles are, his heart's even bigger. I truly believe that. I see it. I see in your eyes, man. I see how you look at people. I see you look at me, man. There's like so much care behind it. And I want to thank you. First of all, thank you for that. But we're here, and the people need to know who you are. So tell me, brother, who are you?
I'm an investor. I'm a friend. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm the guy that wants to see other people grow. So when you talk about that connection that you and I had already built, that connection is authentic because I very much align with who you are at your core.
Yeah.
And so the type of person I am is I like to see people grow. I'm that guy that's always going to be the person that's going to try to get the best out of you. And I want a group of winners around me, man.
That's so important, right? Like that's one of the biggest things. We're here at Monterey and with Owners Club, it's an Owners Club retreat. We're learning, we're getting better as owners. And it's been such a huge impact in my life, in your life. And the fact that you're saying this, you're re-emphasizing the fact that you're in the right room, because you're not the only one, right? I'm not the only one that wants to see other people win. And you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and sometimes it gets a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you know, life is meant to be uncomfortable. Marcus talked about how we have to be at the bottom of the mountain as an owner. And I want to go into that because there's history in my life and there's history in your life. And I want to see what was it or what has it been, right? Was it the young Daniel that seen or had to stick up to people, for people, or was it teen Daniel? Like, tell me, where did this compassion for humans that you want to see them grow and be better, where did that come from?
I think it really comes from God giving me a second chance at life. And, you know, I come from humble beginnings, and I've got a mom who brought me to this country with no command of the English language. We actually led my war-torn country, Iran, during the 8-year Iran and Iraq war, and we left on fake passports. So we actually, and I don't really tell this story often, but we flew into Madrid, Spain. We got caught with fake passports, ended up living in the airport for a couple weeks, and the officials didn't like that. It wasn't a good look for them, so they put us on a bus and said, we're sending you somewhere nice.
Okay.
They ended up sending us to a refugee camp in Germany, and we were there for like 6 months. Then again, my mom scrambled in some way to get additional fake passports, and then we ended up in Canada. So I come from humble beginnings, and my mom had a beautiful life back home and gave it all up to bring us here. Me and my two brothers, which came at a different time. So growing up with just a single mom, not having a father in my life to show me the ropes, I had to figure things out the hard way. And through life, you have a series of mentors that you start to develop relationships with, and they start to guide you in ways that a father never had.
Right.
And so for me, I think as I started to grow older, you know, they only play certain chapters in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And somewhere along the lines, I think I hit rock bottom far too often, where God had given me a second chance. And I think that's where I started to think to myself, all right, let me be the father I never had to myself.
That's so good.
And with that came wanting to help other people.
Dude, that is, okay, there's so much to unpack there. What age point were you at this? When you came, actually, when you first tried to get into, so you get into Madrid, how old were you at that point?
I was 1. Yeah,
One.
just before I was 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your mom...
I'm 6 months old, probably. Maybe, no, we left when I was 1 year old, and we flew right into Madrid.
So
when I was 1 year old.
I have kids, and my wife, she had a very hard time after having kids. I can't imagine a mom that just had a child just less than a year ago, now trying to fight for your safety. Figured out how. I wouldn't even, if you asked me, go get fake passports, I wouldn't even know where to start. And she figured a way because she knew she had to keep you safe. She knew that she had to be the mama bear. And then from there, you go to Madrid. And then from Madrid, you go to Germany. How long were you in Germany for?
About 6 months.
6 months.
In a refugee camp.
Have you talked to your mom about that?
She was the one that told me the story. Because I would be too young to know.
Give me a little bit of details. What does that look like for her?
It's horrifying for any mother to not know what the outcome is going to be. I mean, like, you're fighting for your life every single day, and you don't know what that's going to look like. Which is why I have such a problem with so many people in this great community of Owners Club where they're struggling to get a deal, their first deal, and they're complaining about it. They're crying about it, and it's too hard, and I don't know where to start, and I don't know how to begin. My mother had no command of the German language, the Spanish language, English, and she found a way to make it work. So for her, it was fight or flight every single day.
Yep.
And to care for a child and not have money for diapers and not have money for food, like, you know, there's a level of respect that goes a long way for anybody that hears that story. But when you're now the son of a woman that's gone through that for you, you have a sense of obligation to give back.
I'm not even kidding you. You just reminded me of that. When we're at the end of the Tim Story message, I wrote in my notebook, I will not disrespect the room I'm in by not fighting for what the hell I want.
Yeah.
And you saying that, dude, it hits home so clear because it's so recent, right? How dare I, if I was that person, not fight as hard as I could to do something so incredible, because we're in an incredible location right now. We're around incredible people. You know, I just talked to Alyssa right now. She's telling me what she's been through as well. And it allows me to see that everyone has had something that impacted their life, some way, somehow. But your mom she's I don't even know what word to say that would even come close to describing her, that doesn't, in a sense, not give her the right title, right? It's just, it's beautiful as a mom, it's beautiful as a parent to be so determined. And maybe that's sometimes why we're coddled, maybe not as vigilant to get it done, or just headstrong to get it done. Maybe it is, because our life is meant to be this ups and downs, but it's for a reason. And you said something in the very beginning that it's ingrained in you. Some people are just built different. You're built different. So God already knew, right? It says He knew you from before you were in the womb. He knew the story that He was going to weave for you, and He knew the story that your mom was going to have to go through. So you're in Germany, she's in Germany, you're in Germany, you fly out to Canada, she finds another set of passports, gets you into Canada. What happens then? You've been in Canada since then?
I've been in Canada since then, Toronto, Canada, and at this point she's working 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet. And, you know, like every immigrant, she doesn't have the best resources, she doesn't have the best support system. And so she does her best to raise me. And I can't complain about how she raised me. She did everything she could.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm now being raised by a single woman, a single mom.
Yeah.
And so what happens when a little boy who's supposed to be raised by his dad with masculine energy is being raised by feminine energy, right? And so that starts to take an effect on me, because now I'm not seeing the lens of a man should through hardship. I'm seeing it through the lens of my mom. Yeah. And there is a period where you start to feel coddled, like you said, right? There's nothing like your mom's love. There's nothing like your mom's touch. Yeah. So fast forward, we go to when I'm about my teens now, and now I'm getting caught up in the wrong groups. We're in the, worst community. We're in the worst hood.
Yeah.
I don't have the best of friends, and I start to actually get involved in a lot of the crime that's taking place in that neighborhood.
Wow.
Yeah, I came from like a really rough past. And so that becomes what I call the horrific chapter of my mother's life, who had sacrificed so much to bring me here for a better life, only for her world to go upside down. And I'm talking like, drug dealing and gang banging. Like, there's a different side that you get exposed to. And when you're living with a scarcity mindset and you're broke and you're looking how to make money and you don't have the right resources to teach you the right ways, you start looking for the wrong ways to make it fast.
Yep.
And so that's sort of been my journey up until I hit about 13, 14 years old. And I met my dad for the first time when I was 13.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that even happen? I mean, you're in Canada. I would assume he's back.
He's back home in Iran, and one day I got a knock on the door, and it's him. I had never had a conversation with this guy in my life.
Wow.
Kind of showed up and said, "I'm your father."
Did you want to punch him?
I didn't know what to feel. To be honest, I was actually happy because I felt like a normal kid. I was, for the first time, excited to say that I got a dad. And I didn't know how to really respond in that moment, so I took it in because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And those 5 years that I thought were going to be that father and son relationship was anything but. It was anything but. So that was the horrific chapter in my life where the abuse started to set in, the neglect started to set in.
Yeah.
And so between 13 to 18, I really did not know who I was at that point anymore. You got two parents that are torn. They're trying to keep it together because of me. It's obviously not working. I'm now starting to feel guilty that all the turmoil is happening as a result of me.
Yep.
And at this point, I'm back and forth between my mom and my dad's house to the point now where I go homeless for a couple weeks. Nothing crazy, but I'm not going to my mom's and I'm not going to my dad's. And so during that time, I really started to get involved in drug dealing and gangbanging. And it wasn't until I got a call from my father, again at 18 years of age, and he called me from the airport and said, and I don't actually share this with anybody, and this is how powerful you are, because I'm only sharing this with you because of the genuine connection that I built with you.
Yeah.
But he calls me from the airport and he says, "Son, you're not the son that I wanted, and for as long as I can right now start a new family, I'm going to go and try that.
Wow.
So you live with your mom.
Wow.
I tried to give you a good life, but I don't think you're ever going to be worthy of it. Good luck. I'll see you later." And I never heard from him again. That was it.
That, gosh, man, that's so. Humans are very interesting. Humans, for whatever reason, when there is something too hard, there is either a fight or flight. And that's exactly what he did. He left. I'll tell you my story. You're right, we have a very similar story. My parents were not the best when it came to their relationship. So originally I was born out here in California, Northern California. My dad, an alcoholic, also a womanizer. So he cheated on my mom who knows how many times. So much to a point where he would just take me along. So my dad and I had a good connection, but he, for whatever reason, thought it was a good idea to bring me along in these adventures of his. And one day, I was, I want to say 5, 6, maybe somewhere around there. I walked in him with another woman. I opened the door, and I remember startling them, and then I seen them, and I closed it. I just sat there on the couch, didn't know why he was laying there with her. Um, and I was kind of just lost and confused. We drive back home, and he's like, "Hey, don't tell your mom anything like that. Right? It's nothing. Don't worry about it." And then in that same time, he figured that it's a good idea to introduce sexual activities or viewing sexual stuff at age 6. So he sat me down. He's like, "Hey, come here, come look at this," and started to put on the a porn channel. And
Wow.
that has had such a traumatic impact in my life, where that was just the beginning, right? I seen my dad cheat. I then have my eyes exposed at 6 years old to something that should not be exposed for a long time. So then I think it's normal, and I start looking for it. And so that just begins to build. My dad is encouraging. He's very much the machismo, sleep with as many as women as you can. And I'm trying to be a kid.
Yeah.
But I, because of that, essentially grew up in an instant knowing what that sexual activity was, right? And so it led me into that path, and then they moved. My parents, we moved down south to Southern California, little town called Indio. And this is another traumatic experience. I had 2 dogs. I loved dogs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Loved dogs. I had 2 dogs, and I absolutely adored them. They were amazing to me. We have to leave them. We leave them with my aunt, thinking that it's going to take care of them. And I remember one day she comes, and she's like, "Well, they ran away." And I put my faith in my parents that they were going to take care of these dogs. I put my faith in my aunt. And I remember running and just being heartbroken. It was what felt like my innocence just kept getting ripped away. And then in that time, my parents, same. They're fighting. They're arguing. They're breaking doors. And who has to be in the middle? I do.
You.
As it's a natural reaction, I had to protect my mom. I had to push away my dad. And I remember there was times where there was like irons thrown, and there was bleach sprayed, and all this fighting, and it was not a good place for a kid to grow up, right? At the same time, I'm still with my sister. She's with us. She's my half sister, and I have to see her. I have to see her and what she goes through, and she's dealing with her own traumas, and I'm not a good brother. I mean, I'm a kid, right? Brother, sister, sibling, rivalry, fighting. It was never, in the beginning, the best relationship. She loved me. I know she did. And so my parents are fighting and arguing, and there's so much chaos going on and so much inappropriate discussions and fights going on, and I'm seeing all this, and I'm thinking, in essence, this is normal, right? I don't know any better. They finally get divorced, and I move with my dad. I go with my dad. My mom understands how close I am with him, and she lets me go. She knew she could have kept me. I didn't know this until much later.
Right.
I essentially thought she's just like, "No, have him. Like, I don't want him." That's how I felt.
Right.
Because she didn't fight for me. And it wasn't until just a couple years ago she's like, "Yeah, I knew I couldn't take you away from your dad. He was your hero. Even though he was a mess, he was still your hero." And in those teen years, he, again, still thought it was a great idea to teach a child that it's okay to have sex. So I actually lost my virginity when I was 13 to an older woman. And again, I thought it was normal. I thought it was cool, but it just kept on these traumas of my innocence kept being ripped away and ripped away and ripped away. And it wasn't until I moved away from both of them, I was like, I'm done with you guys. Like, you guys are just too traumatic.
Yeah.
I remember this one time. There's 2 times actually that I was like, all right, that's freaking it. My mom had this obsession with my dad for whatever reason, and this guy was an alcoholic. Like, there was this one day, I remember her crying, like bawling, and my dad's completely wasted in the living room, and she's over here crying. I'm like, why are you with this bum? Like, what are you doing? You're so much better. You're a go-getter. You could do so much better, right? You're working, you're learning. And I got so upset with both of them. Because like, you guys are putting us through this hell because you guys can't just let go of each other. And so I was like, I'm done with you guys. But as a child, you don't want to let that go.
You don't know how to let go.
Exactly. And
especially when he's your hero.
Yep. And so years go by, they separate, and then we move. So this is like 2000, I want to say like 2010, 2009, somewhere around there. They kept still trying to come back together, and there was a point where I was just so sick of their nonsense. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to help because I wanted to help. That's my heart. I want to help. And I remember they were fighting, and they're so used to fighting that it was just normal to them. But for a 18-year-old at that point, I was just like, why? Like, why? How are you able to take this on? Like, I was so frustrated. I went into my trunk of my car and just started crying. I didn't know where else to go. I didn't want to be around them. And then in that time, thank God, he started just sharing himself with me. He started having moments. He knew if there was a sudden just influx of him that I wouldn't accept him. And so he started doing it drip by drip by drip. And so from like 2007 to 2010, he was doing these drips. Even wherever I went. So I was in California, I was in Arizona. It was always just kind of showing these drips. And one day, at this point, I was still living with my mom. My dad, at this point, already left. He was a truck driver. So he was gone. He was just like in and out very, 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 very rarely. He was trying to work. And so it was more with my mom now. And I met this girl. I was working. I was bitter. I was trying to play the game. Lost. So lost.
Yeah, it's usually what
Didn't
happens.
know which way to go. I did not know which way to go. I was working 2 dead ends. I freaking retail jobs.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. And so luckily enough, I met this girl named Mari. And me being me, I was like, I'm going to hook up with this girl, right? And she was like, she was a good Christian girl. She was a pastor's kid. She's like, I knew who she was. She was just like, what the heck? This guy thinks he can have me, right?
Yeah.
And so, but she used it to her advantage, right? She was like, all right. She had really curly hair, really long hair. I'm like, hey, will you straighten your hair for me? And she's like, I'll straighten my hair if you go to Bible study with me.
I knew she was going to say that. Yeah. That's usually the first step to the man caving and conforming to the woman. Yeah.
And so she did it, and I went to this Bible study, and I had to drive like 30 minutes just to go. And I tell you, it was one of the most incredible feelings that I've ever felt in my life being there. And it was just a bunch of youth. It was youth just worshiping God. And it changed everything. But at the same time, I still was lost. I didn't know. It had to take some time, right?
Yeah.
And eventually, I gave my life to Christ, and even then, my life was rocky because I was a mess, and I was trying to resolve that mess with God's love mixed with a girl's love, and it just wasn't going to work. And that was my trauma. That was my trauma from my youth into my teens to my early young adulthood.
So when Miguel looks back on his trauma and he reflects on it, Miguel knows who he is with his childhood trauma and his pain. Does Miguel know who he is without that pain?
You know what? That's such a good question, and I don't want to answer it wrong, but this is why I don't know, because regardless of my trauma, I know that there's a God that had sent his son, and he paid the price for everything that I've gone through, every sin that I committed. And that allows me to put that burden that I have on his shoulders, but still allows me to recognize that I went through that, and which makes me who I am now. And I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I've let it go completely. And this is why these moments are so impactful for me, because I essentially don't believe. I don't know if I let it go or not. I know, though, that I'm extremely grateful that he has pulled me from where I was into where I am now. You know, 2 beautiful children, one absolutely incredible wife, and I get to serve my true God. I get to serve him in a way where I get to spend on a Thursday evening with you here in front of a camera talking about it. Like, this is my life now, and I'm just so grateful, but yet I still feel so unworthy. And that's why that emotion is so strong, because I just feel so unworthy. But at the same time, I know that his love is so amazing that even when I don't feel unworthy, he still shows his love for me. I'll share this with you. It was a couple months ago. It was before I joined the Owners Club. And I was going to give a study to the men. And they had me placed downstairs. We had a classroom downstairs and had a whiteboard. And there was this itch of what this verse meant. And I was like, what are you trying to tell me here? What is it that you're trying to tell me, God? And it was Genesis, I want to say 3:1 or somewhere around there, where it talks about Adam getting put in the garden to work. And in my head, I'm like, why is he going to work? This garden's perfect, right? There's nothing wrong with it. But what I was talking with God is regardless of his perfection, he still has to do work in man, right? Mm-hmm. And so I kept wondering. I started writing this down. I started whiteboarding, and there was a point where I pointed to questions like, what is it for, Lord? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing this all for? What is my purpose?
Right.
And so I started writing these questions down. Is it because you're just calling me to do this? Is it because you want me to help someone? Is it because you want me to share your gospel, right? Because you put this responsibility on us as believers to share your gospel. That's one of our true things that we have to do. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote down, is it to make me famous so I can share your gospel? That was Wednesday. Sunday, it was the end of the service. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was happy that I was able to have all that breakdown. So much I took a picture, right? And it was the end of, we have two services, Spanish, English. It was the end of the Spanish service. And my pastor calls me up. He's like, hey, I want to pray for you and your wife. And but he wasn't going to pray for me. He was like, he's going to call another brother. Again, I wrote all this with no one in the room. It was just me and my son. No one knew. No one knew what I felt. No one knew my questions. No one knew anything but God. And so the deacon, his name's Eric, he gets called up. He's like, pastor asks, he's like, lay your hands on him and then start prophesying over him, or praying over him. And one of the things that he said was, make him famous so they know your word. And I heard that, and honestly, that's the only thing I heard when he was speaking. Like, that's when he said that, it caught my ear so much. I'm like, did he just say what I thought he said? Like, did he really just say that? And I was so shocked, but so grateful, because I knew that was one of the things that I put on my board. He finished praying, and I had to show my pastor. I'm like, look, this is what I did, because this is what you taught me. You taught me to, regardless of anybody in the room, you continue to share that message, even if it's just for me. And I shared him, I showed him a picture. I'm like, look what I have right here.
Right.
And he immediately called Eric back. He's like, get this guy back in here. Get him back in here. And I showed him the picture, and he was just like, he's seen a ghost. He's like, no way. And the reason I'm saying this is because it wasn't just for me, that message. It was for him too. And how God does these incredible things for every single person that is in the vicinity and in our lives. And so this moment right here, you're blessing me with your story and allows me to know who you are and the God that has put you in this spot here today. What he had to do to interweave you to this point here today. And the same thing with me, right? And I'm just so grateful. And that's why I get so emotional, because I know everything that he's done for me, and the fact that I'm just not worthy of it, but yet he still uses me as a tool, as his tool. It just brings me so much peace, so much emotion, so much gratefulness. And sometimes it's just so overwhelming, like it was today, where it's just like, it just can't come out.
I would almost look at it like it's not about you feeling worthy or not. It's about people beyond you, right? Like what he's put you through is no longer for you, it's for others.
Yep.
And so as we sit here and we contemplate whether we're worthy or not, we have to also remind ourselves that what we're doing now and how we're helping others, how you're helping others, is not about you. And it's not about you feeling worthy. Yeah. It's not about you feeling like whether you deserve it or not. It's beyond you at this point.
Yeah. It's just hard to get to that point, right? Because even as I speak to other owner members, even as I share messages, even as I do whatever I do, there's still that doubt. There's still that voice, and it's like, oh this or oh that, something negative, and I always have to. It's a mind battle that I have to continuously have to fight.
That's your subconscious from your past conditioning that you just need to overcome. But I think the route that you're on right now, I mean, look, I genuinely do believe that us as men, when we go through the things that we go through, the hardship and the struggles of life, we need to go through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, there are certain things that we may not need to be subjected to, right? But it becomes a fabric of your being and who you have become today. Yep. And I'll also add that when I asked you that question, do you know who you are without the pain? When I was asked that question from a friend of mine, I couldn't answer it. Yeah. And that was maybe 6 months ago, 5 months ago.
Wow.
And I still have a hard time answering it.
Yeah.
Because it's all I've ever known. And I don't like the idea of getting rid of my demons, because my demons have allowed me to become who I am.
Yeah.
Those are my demons.
Yeah.
And I've gone through hell to develop them, right? So I want to hang on to that because it's allowed me to channel it in a very successful way. Now, if I was spiraling out of control, I'd have to address it.
Yeah.
But for me now, I use it as fuel, whether I'm in the gym, whether I'm working on acquisitions, whether I'm thinking of problem solving strategies. I look at where I came from and what I've gone through. And that was only a small fraction as to what I shared with you. So for people like you and I, we've gone through that hardship no longer because of us. It's not about us. It's about the people in your lives. Like you said that you've got 2 beautiful kids and a wife. dude, that's like number one, and Marcus Lemonis also says this too because he's an adopted child.
Yeah.
You're privileged to have a child.
Yeah.
You don't have the right to have a
Yeah.
child. You're privileged to have a child. And you've got two beautiful kids and a wife who's supportive and allows you to build that relationship with God. This is no longer about you being worthy or not. This is about you delivering to those that saved your life.
Absolutely. Damn, bro. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. See, this is, I was just talking to John Rodriguez, and one of his big things is dads, helping dads. And I think it goes beyond the dads, it's the men, right?
Yeah.
This world needs men that are righteous, that follow what God has put in their heart. And unfortunately, as this world has made men to be soft and weak and to be set aside. And I think it's a responsibility as the men that are actually fighting like hell to change this world. We have to continuously share that message. And I thank you because you are able to share that message. And I think how you put it, where it's like those demons have to stay with me because they're my fuel. It reminds me of the verse where God talks about how everything is created for Him. And I've never looked at it in that sense, but damn, that's good. Where it's even the bad, the ugly, and the good are fueling me to be where I need to be and where I need to go.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, I don't believe in getting rid of them, but I will also say this too. It's you that brings that out of people as well, right? Like I'm not sitting here having this podcast with just anybody and sharing this side of my life.
Yeah.
We're at a real estate conference, right? We're at a real estate meetup right now. But it's who you are at your core that I'm able to align with. It's your values and morals. And in these short days that I've gotten to know you, I've been able to connect beyond the surface with you.
Yeah.
And that's what I resonate with most. And I feel like when you've gone through something hard in life, and I say this to a lot of people, if you haven't gone through hardship, I can't relate to you. Because there's nothing relatable at this point. There's no commonality, and there's only so much surface level discussions that I can have before you know and realize I'm no longer interested in having a conversation. So you have the ability of bringing this side of me out. And so that speaks to your ability to drive that out of people.
Yeah.
And so what I would suggest for you, Miguel, is that, and this is in such a short period of time of getting to know who you are, is that share your story with others, because in that moment when I saw you emotional, I realized there was some deep-rooted pain within, and immediately the first thing that came to my mind is, I want to be friends with this guy for life.
Yeah, I love that.
It's no longer about how do we serve each other in real estate. I want to get to know who this guy is, because there's something so deep that he's got to share with the world.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of his journey when he does.
I love that. I appreciate that. Truly, I do. There's, with this, again, you mentioned this, with real estate and this whole business world, it does come back to, right? It's like, oh, how do I help you? How do I help you on the surface level? One of the questions I had coming into this was, how do I bring my personal life into this? And my personal is not just who I am, but it's also my family. And how the heck do I put these two together? And I think this is it. This is just being vulnerable and allowing people to see, allowing us to just do it and just share and be vulnerable. And Tim's story really resonates with me, right? Because he had that rough. Like, as soon as the guy started talking, I was like, I can feel exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can feel that. Those demons, those scars that he had to go through to be who he is. Bro, it pissed me off on his behalf when those guys told him that. That made me so angry, bro. Because who the hell do you think you are to tell someone that they shouldn't be doing that or they shouldn't be doing this when God has ordained them through their weaving of their DNA to do that, bro? Bro, oh my
But
gosh.
you need that in life though, because imagine what you wouldn't know if everybody cheered you on.
Yeah.
Right? Like days wouldn't be sunny if you never had rain.
Right.
Right? Joy wouldn't feel so good if you never had pain.
Yeah.
So he had to have gone through that to be subjected to that kind of harsh negativity to realize what the positive outcomes can and feel look like. And so why we go through what we go through is because that allows us to see a different side of life and want to share that with other people.
Yeah.
And so Tim's story also had to go through that because Tim's story wouldn't be the Tim story to share that story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more not the fact that he had to go through it, it's more the fact of who it came from.
Yeah.
It's these believers that use his word as a evil in that sense. They take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Bro, that's what really pissed me off because my faith is truly my number one, honestly. Because I've literally done the test. I've done that Clifton Notes test, whatever it's called, and that's my number one. It's my belief.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, it literally put a fire in my heart. I was like, those mother, that's why I told you too when your dad came, because that's what I would feel. I feel for you. I think back of you as a teen not having that dad, and then all of a sudden he wants to pop up, and then to 5 years later say peace, bro. If I were to see him on the street, probably wrangle his neck.
It was the greatest thing he had done, though. It was the greatest thing.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I had to be, yeah.
Yeah, and trust me, like I'm not going to front and say that I've made peace with it because I'm not.
No.
I mean, kudos to those people that are able to forgive.
But right, that's the fire.
Yeah.
That fire, bro. It's like you.
Yeah, that's
you
a fire that I don't want to
wasn't-
let out right now. Yeah, we're good. Maybe in retirement I'll let that fire out, but for now we're gonna hang on to it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Don't let that go.
No.
Let that guy, without even him knowing who
Yeah.
you are, know that you are a freaking amazing person.
Appreciate you, man.
And your story, it's already changed my life. It's going to change other people's lives.
I appreciate
right?
you.
I 100% think that this has to be broadcasted more. This reality of who we are, these demons that we freaking face every single day. It's an everyday battle. Everyday battle that we have to fight, and we have to freaking punch off our shoulders.
But it's a good battle for us. As men, it's a battle that we have to go through.
Yeah.
And I much rather go through this battle on behalf. Like I can probably speak on your behalf and say that you much rather go through this battle yourself than for your kids and your wife to ever go through.
Oh, dude, 100%.
Right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
put that weight on my shoulders and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'll take on everyone's pain and problem.
Yeah.
I just don't want them to ever be subjected to what I was subjected
Yeah, absolutely.
to.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. I don't think I've ever told anyone else this. The women in my family, or the women in my life, my sister, my wife, all have experienced some kind of abuse. And I remember one day we were at church and I had my daughter and she'd just been born. And again, it terrifies me. As a father, just thinking about it, I would literally slit his throat. I mean, I wouldn't care. I would slit his throat and watch him bleed. But thank God that I remember I was in the altar and it was so clear. I had her in my arms and I was holding her and I heard God as clear as day. Don't worry about that. I'm going to protect her. She will never have to go through that. And I remember, bro, I was like, thank you, because I don't know what the hell I would do if that ever happened to her. I would feel like a failure. I would try to kill that guy. I would be broken because I failed as a father, knowing that I couldn't protect her from what I had went through. Because honestly, what I went through was sexual abuse too.
Yeah.
And what my wife went through. And what my sister was going through. And what my aunt's gone through, right? And thank God he said, no, I'm breaking that curse.
You're breaking the cycle. Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
That's amazing.
And I thank God because she doesn't have to go through that, because I had to go through it, but I was able to see that God was just trying to pull me in, so then He can then say she doesn't have to go through it, because you went through it, and I paid that price for it. And so, absolutely, 100% agree. I'd rather have taken that than have my daughter
I love that.
take that. 100%.
Love it.
Man, you wanted to go deep? We went deep,
We
brother.
went deep, bro. This was good, man. I enjoyed
So,
that.
what are you working on right now? We were in this conference for about 4 days technically. What were you coming here thinking to get? What did you need to get?
I was thinking to come and give.
Okay.
I was thinking to come and give.
That you did it.
Yeah, look, I so the way I think is I very much like to operate from the perspective of giving. There's a book by an author called Adam Grant, and Adam Grant categorizes people into 3 categories: givers, takers, and matchers.
Yep.
And givers are those that give as much as they can, takers are those that take as much as they can, and then the matchers play the tit for tat. You send me a lead, I'll send you a referral. You bring me on a deal, I'll bring you on a deal. And so I always like operating from a state of abundance, and it took a long time to get to this state. I've always been focused on full ownership.
Right.
But now it's more so, how do I give as much as I can? So I've got a business partner, his name is Daryl, and him and I are now focused on bringing in as many investors as we can that have never had their first rental property or never acquired
Wow.
real estate in their life.
Yeah.
How do we help them get into the market? But by the same time, it's also being a lucrative acquisition for all of us. It's fruitful for all of us. So we've got a lot of single families and multifamilies right now across US, Canada. We're looking at co-living because the focus behind that is helping those that are in a position where they can't necessarily help themselves.
Right.
And so this ties into my Mount Everest, which is very much aligned with his, which is very specific. It's helping 1,030 people through the acquisition of 137 homes, netting $250,000 a month, cash flow, which is going to benefit our families and our employees as well.
Yeah.
And so through God's good grace, right now we're hitting the ground running on the co-living. The single families, multifamilies have been very strong for us. We've been very fortunate with that. And we're just looking at really building authentic, meaningful relationships with people that we can bring on, whether that's partnerships or whether that's just even serving them.
That's incredible. So, you want to continue going deep?
I mean, we can take it wherever you want, but I don't know how far you want to go. How much time do we have to go deep?
We might have to, we'll pause this one. Okay, so next question.
Yeah.
Last question, actually. You gave a little bit about your Mount Everest, right? You actually gave a lot about your Mount Everest. How do people reach out to you? What's the avenue of, you're watching this, they're watching this, and it's like, I want to be around Daniel. I want to talk to you. I want to connect with you. I want to either invest with you, or even I'm that person that needs that home. How do we get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me on Facebook or Instagram. That's at Daniel Hassibi, Hassibi, or hit me up on my email, daniel@chartered-finance.com. I've got a buy box that I usually put on Facebook, but if you typically hit me up on social media, I'm a little bit slower to respond now because there's a lot more DMs coming in, but I always try to make it a point to respond to all my DMs.
I love that. Yeah. All right. You guys heard that? Reach out to this man. He's absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you so much for being vulnerable with me. And thank you so much for being my friend and my new brother.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Dose.